Hello guys, this is Pedram Raufi and you're watching the markets review. During today's program, we're going to check the situation on the stock market, check the news, the main global news which has their impact on the stock market and forex pairs. And of course, we're going to see what is going on with Bitcoin and Ethereum, with the main cryptocurrency markets assets. As you know, Today's today's news background really related to the new COVID variant, and the most impact which nowadays we have on the stocks. They're coming from the new mutation of the COVID virus, but because of the because of some data that we already have about the severity of the virus, which is lower than the Delta variant and the other variants which we had before. The stock market kind of is actually stabilizing, and if you remember the previous program and the previous programs, I've actually told you that because of the prediction of the lower severity, of the mild severity of new COVID variant, the situation in the stock market could really get optimized in the near future. So the situation which we have nowadays is like, due to the chart of S&P 500, is like we've already recovered by 50% of the previous downward impulse. For Dow Jones, situation actually looks the same. So we have recovered about the 50% of previous downward impulse. And what's going on? What would go on today, and what we have on the economic calendar? We're actually going to check all of the releases of today's economic calendar as well, and mostly you have to kind of be careful and just check the news background of the new variant of the COVID-19 and its spreading, and what is going on already, and what kind of restrictions countries are going to realize in their countries. So as you know, United States is not going to close the country, is not going to realize any kind of lockdown. Europe is kind of realizing some lockdowns in Germany, in Austria, and the situation all over the world is more stable than we know. So what would we have for today? What kind of releases we have? We've already had the releases from Germany, German ZW Economic Sentiment, which is a very important release, and it's positive. And what would we have today during the day is the releases from Canada, EVA PMI, with no prognosis, and let's say the most important release for today's movement of the Canadian dollar and oil prices are the EIA short-term energy outlook, which have to be kind of bullish because of the restrictions which are getting realized by the OPEC. The OPEC is really trying to make the prices to go higher, to make the prices recover again. And at night, 23:50 by GMT, by Greenwich time, we have the releases from Japan, which is important as well. GDP, the gross domestic product, which is kind of, due to the prognosis, we have a deficit here. And that's a really good factor for the Japanese yen movements today. So what is going on with dollar index? And we are going to check the stock market again and then start the forex pairs as well. As we saw already, the stock market is now reversed, and about 50% of previous downward movement have been recovered. What is going on with dollar prices? Let's check on the high scaled chart. Here's a mirror level which have been retested, and we are under this mirror level 96.50, 96.40, and in the moment when we are under this level, the downward movement of dollar, the continuation of downward movement of dollar is more probable than the continuation of upward movement. So before we get above this level, we can actually observe the continuation of downward movement of dollar indexes. And this factor could maybe help the euro, pound, and Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar as well to go higher. What is going on with the energy market? As you know, the natural gas is kind of reversing from the new minimums, and we've already broke through the main support which we had, and the situation for today and for now is actually showing us that price is testing the mirror level of 380. So above this level, maybe we could have some chances to continue the upward movement. Under this level, situation would be not so good. Due to the situation which we have for now, for today, maybe the continuation of consolidation around this range would be more realistic, would be more realistic, and it would actually continue. So the most realistic prediction here is the continuation of the consolidational movement for now around 3.80. So it's a range from $4 to $350, and this range, between this range, maybe in the near future, we could continue to stabilize and maybe to strengthen and rise again. So due to the United States dollar movement and due to the energy market, and of course the oil prices, which are recovering now, and the stock market, which is recovering, we can actually tell that maybe in the near future we could have some consolidation, but the continuation of the dollar price downward movement and stock indexes, oil prices upward movement is more realistic. So let's go through the Forex pairs which we have. Euro, pound, Australian dollar, and New Zealand dollar. As you see today, all of these four pairs have made a really impulsive downward movement, which actually caused the retest of a really important support. So here maybe we have a false breakthrough, and due to this fact of the false breakthrough of the local support, of the main support, for example, for GBP here, we actually even don't observe any false breakthrough of local support, and we are strengthening above the local support. So today's impulsive downward movement and the retest of the local supports of euro, pound, Australian dollar, as well as you see, and New Zealand dollar, could really mean that the continuation of upward movement for all of these four pairs is more realistic in the midterm, and we have to actually check and maybe get into long positions when we are retesting the local supports during this tendency, which is continuing. So for all of these four pairs, the predictions could be really bullish in the near future. What is going on with the commodity, with the gold prices, silver prices, and of course the pairs which are made from risk values of Swiss franc, of Japanese yen, which actually rise and fall as commodity assets rise and fall. So we have here gold, we have here silver, United dollar to Swiss franc, which is a risk asset, and United dollar to Japanese yen, which is a risk asset as well. The situation for gold for today, the continuation of consolidation, as we see, is more realistic. And here we have actually shrinking of the volatility with a downward, in a downward channel. The shrinking of volatility in a downward channel, which could mean that in the midterm we could continue to rise. But for now, we have to wait for the impulsive retest of local minimums, of the local supports which we have. So 1,770 or 1,775 could be the range which could get retested in the future. And after its retest, after its impulsive retest especially, we could be more sure about the continuation of upward movement. Here now, we're actually observing the probability of downward impulsive movement, which could really happen in the near future. And for silver prices as well, the situation which we are now observing, prices are really consolidated near to local support, and before we get under 22.30, 22.20, before we get under this range, we could actually observe the continuation of upward movement and rising of the price. But if we get under this range and we get stuck under this range, the probability of the next downward movement would be higher. So I think that maybe in the near future, the continuation of the consolidational movement of both of these two assets is more likely. What's going on with United States dollar and the Swiss franc and United States dollar and Japanese yen? Here we have a kind of flag formation. It's a formation of a really interesting pattern. And in this case, the downward flag, it means the shrinking of the volatility in a downward channel. It could be looks like a flag. It could look like a wedge. Yeah. So both of these formations inside the upward movement, inside the upward trend, means that price could continue the upward movement. Price could continue to rise. But to be more sure, for now, for midterm, for intraday traders, maybe the continuation of upward movement would be more likely, but you have to really be careful of this level, which is a kind of a mirror level, and which really could make prices to not go higher. So the level 0.9270, 0.9265, let's say, is a level which could really stop prices to go higher for United States dollar to franc. And for United States dollar to Japanese yen, I think that in a short term, we are observing probability of a reversal because of the shrinking of price inside an rising wedge near to the historical maximums. And of course, simultaneously, we are observing the divergence between the maximums and the RSI oscillator, which means that prices could really reverse in the near future. Do we have any signals for short-term downward movement here? We have kind of signal, but and actually for short positions to start them, we have maybe we have a good range of stop loss and the range of risk which we could choose. It could be about 100. I think it won't be even 100. It could be less than 100, but it could be about 100, 150 points of risk here, which we could really retest in the future. So all of these speculations could really happen, and you have to be careful. But here we have a signal of the start of a reversal which could start after after a really impulsive upward impulse, which could even retest 113.80 or 113.75. So maybe it would be better to start the short positions after the retest of these levels. And for these pairs, for their continuation, for their upward movement continuation, we need the dollar price to go deeper, to fall deeper. So here we have the oil price rising, we have the stock market price rising. If they get consolidate in the near future, and these consolidational movements would be continue for a day, the continuation of their upward movement, the WTI upward movement, stock market index upward movement would get under question, would be not so possible. So if today's consolidational movement of oil or stock prices, stock market indexes continue, this could mean that dollar won't fall dip. And actually, we need the continuation of the upward movement of stock market indexes and oil prices indexes to be more sure about the continuation of dollars indexes falling. So any statement from Federal Reserve System, any new statement of Jerome Powell about the interest rate hiking in the near future could really cause a really bad speculative upward impulses of dollar index, which could make euro, pound, Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar, oil, and stock market indexes fall impulsively and speculatively fall. And this could actually make you to would make you would actually make your cause you for intraday, it could cause you a loss. So you have to be careful. United States dollar to Canadian dollar really shrinking. The price is really shrinking. The volatility is really shrinking in the long term. In the near, we are actually retesting for support, and we need to get stuck above under this level or get strengthened above this level, so we would be more sure about the continuation of next movement. We could get consolidated here. So the next movement on the markets could be really consolidational, and you have to check the fundamental factors and the other factors as well. So maybe in the future we could have some convergence here, which is not yet realized. This convergence is not really realized yet, but we could actually have it. We could actually see it in future. But for short term, for nearest hours, I think that the continuation of downward movement is more possible. You have to really be careful about the retest of this level. This level is retesting, and the price is kind of getting consolidated. So after the strengthening of the price above this level, or after price gets stuck under this level, the situation would be more obvious. Bitcoin prices and Ethereum prices, as we saw and as we said from previous programs, continued the downward movement. And this downward movement was so wild. Prices of Bitcoin actually retested $47,000. As we said from previous time, that price of Bitcoin could continue to fall till 50,000, even till 47,000. So our target level of selling Bitcoin was about $47,000. That's due to the previous programs. The target level of the Bitcoin shorting was 50,000 or 47,000. And as we see, after the retest of 47,000, we have some strengthening. But I don't really believe in the strengthening. Maybe in the future we could have some continuation of a really moderate upward movement, which we could use. For day traders, we have some pressure to the local resistance, but be really careful here. We could have some upward impulsive speculative movements, which could really cause the next downward movement till 49,000. So here, maybe you have to wait to get into long position again, maybe after some upward impulsive candlestick formations. So here, and due to the chart of the 15-minute chart of Bitcoin, I cannot tell you that in the near future we could actually continue the moderate upward movement. Here we could really get dumped after some impulsive candlestick formations near to 52,050 or 52,000. So after this, maybe after this retest, maybe we could get into long positions again. But for now, I'm not so sure. For Ethereum situation here is showing us for midterm that price is actually testing a mirror level, and this above this level. For daily traders, for midterm traders, situation could be really good. For example, for Bitcoin and for Ethereum as well. But for intraday traders, we could really have some downward movement, correctional movement for today. So we have to be careful. Here we could have some downwards correctional movement to 4,300. So maybe you have to wait for prices to retest 4,360, 4,320, and after this retest, get into long positions again. Thank you guys that you watched this video. Don't forget that we have different type of instruments on our MT4 and MT5 terminals of Gerchik Co, which you can use to make higher profit and to make your losses lower. So don't forget to check our site, check our official site, and use our terminal, and of course use the instruments which we have in this terminal. Don't forget to like the video and share it if you want. Don't forget to subscribe on this channel and ring the bell so you won't miss any online videos of our channel. Have good tradings. Till next time, guys. Bye bye.